Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much for joining us. Well, look, you must be absolutely thrilled so far. We've got this exit poll that's predicting, well, one of the mega polls that we saw before the election may well be correct, that Reform UK could be winning 13 seats in this election. What's your reaction to that?
Well, look, my reaction is I think the British people want real change. They want real change in Westminster, the reality of which Labour will not be. The Conservative Party, true conservatism is being reborn in the form of the Reform Party. The most important thing about today is that Nigel Farage, we're very confident that Nigel Farage will be a member of Parliament for the first time.
That's eighth-time trying, 99% likelihood that he will win Clacton is what the exit poll is saying.
Indeed, and I'm in Clacton now. The energy is amazing. So, look, I want to be really clear that this is just the beginning. We're very happy, but this is simply the beginning on a journey to elect Nigel Farage as Prime Minister of this country.
You think that's going to happen? No, he said, look, he wasn't going to be having a manifesto for government this time round. He said that, that wasn't an option. Didn't like the word manifesto either. But I've been talking to senior figures in the Reform UK over the last couple of days. They're not predicting 13 MPs this time round. They think it's going to be rather less than that, perhaps even as low as 5, even 7. This is suggesting a much better turnout. What do you put that down to?
Well, look, I would caveat that this is an exit poll, and we are in the realm now. It looks like clearly Reform are the third largest party by vote share. Whatever that number is, ends up being 17, 18, 19%. The reality is we are at an area of the vote share where the seat return for each incremental percentage point of votes is very, very significant. So I wouldn't want to prejudge it. I'd rather wait until the results come. But again, what I will say is regardless of the number of seats Reform get in this particular election, what is very, very clear is that Reform has gotten 17, 18% of the vote share with a shoestring budget. Remember, it was just a few weeks, short weeks ago, that Nigel Farage wasn't even standing. In October 2022, Reform was sitting at 4% in the polls, delivering now 17, 18, 19% of the vote share. I would tell people at home to appreciate just how quick, we live in a world where these numbers can move very, very quickly. Political parties can gain enormous amounts of support in a relatively short period of time. I point people to France, where Marine Le Pen, and just to be clear, Nigel Farage is no Marine Le Pen, but if you look at what happened with her results just 2 years ago, she was at 18%, she's now at 36%. I firmly believe, and we firmly believe, that this sort of momentum can be replicated here, and that's why we're very confident in this movement, and I encourage people to join us. If you believe in true conservatism, not claiming you're conservative and then governing in an opposite way, that has been reborn this evening in the form of the Reform Party. I'd urge people to join us.
Well, we spoke to Alex Salmond, the former First Minister of Scotland, former leader of the SNP, and he was saying, with him, with the SNP, it took them 20 years to get to this position, if this is what you achieve. The role that Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, the leader and the chairman, have talked about is being, basically the opposition, providing opposition and destroying the Conservative Party. Conservatives are predicted in this exit poll to get 131 seats. Is that destroying the Conservative Party?
Look, to be clear, the Conservative Party have done a great job of destroying themselves. Let's see where we end up in terms of the Conservative, the number of seats. The reality is very precious few, if any, of those Conservative MPs will be truly Conservative, regardless of what their business card may say. We're focused on our positive message. That is what people have voted for. Anyone who has seen the rally that we did in Birmingham,
which you spoke at, of course.
Yes, and the energy was absolutely incredible. This is a really, really positive message. We have a chance to return Great Britain to its greatness, and Reform are the party to be able to deliver that.
I've got to ask you about that. We had Paul Mason on earlier, obviously no fan of Reform UK, is on the left of the Labour Party even, but talking about, basically, I think he may have even used the words that, Nigel Farage, racist things, basically, saying that sort of the 2.8 million Muslims in this country are sort of not integrating, not friends of this country. What do you make of the criticism of Nigel Farage, and indeed of a number of the candidates in this election who have said some, frankly, the candidates in this case, some pretty horrific things?
Oh, first of all, Nigel Farage did not say that of all Muslims.
No, I pointed that out.
I can categorically say that. Yeah, no, totally, and I appreciate that. Look, the reality is that we are in a position now where reform, not just in polls, but it looks like reform are actually going to deliver whatever it may be, 17, 18, 19% in an election. So I'd encourage people to really keep in mind whenever a senior politician makes such aspersions about the entire Reform Party, they are casting such aspersions and slurring almost a fifth of the entire nation. And it's just remarkable to me how, as I said in my speech on Sunday, people whose salaries rely on their electorate, the electorate they are supposed to represent, think it's a sensible strategy or remotely appropriate to keep sneering at and insulting their own voters. The reality is that people who support reform because they believe in true conservatism, they believe in having secure borders, they believe in putting British people first, and they believe that Nigel Farage is the only politician actually willing to even talk about our biggest challenges, let alone have the solutions to solve them.
Okay, really good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us there on the telephone there from Clacton, of course, where